we decided to make this film in a very different way. In the beginning, what we did was we saw, my daughter and I would drive past where the family lived, and we would see this man riding his horse on the side of the road, long hair flying, and he was so handsome and charismatic, and we were very attracted to him, and we engineered a meeting, and we discovered this beautiful wife and these amazing articulate children. And then we talked to people around the area, and we discovered that Peter was very well known at breaking in horses. So we thought, we'll make a little instructional DVD, you know, how to break in a horse. And we thought maybe 2-3 weeks tops. And then 3 years later, we'd finished sort of the main part of the shoot. It just sort of grew on us. As we were filming, we realized that there was a bigger story. We realized these people had a lot to say. It just made sense to keep going. So we decided we would just follow the story, and that we would allow the story to tell itself to us. And one of the things that we did during that process is that we made a decision that we would not look at any of our material. I don't know whether you said that. Oh yeah, until the very end, because we wanted to be servants of the story rather than us going and talking to them and filming them and thinking, oh, we missed that, or we should get that, or oh, I hope they say that, because then it would be us running it rather than them explaining themselves. It's true that we didn't get the release signatures until the very end. And yes, it is a bit nerve-wracking, because maybe what if something happens and they change their mind, but the type of films we make are based on trust. And if the trust is violated at any point during the process, then what we are capturing is not authentic. It becomes a show. And we want to make films that are about authentic emotions. So if they had at the end said, we don't want to do this, we would have had to respect that. The thing that we understood as we were making this film, as we were filming over the years, is that as filmmakers, we're observing them as a family, but as people, they're observing us. So when we go there, when we're with them, we bring ourselves, and we are as much on show to them as they are to us. So it's a relationship, and it's a relationship of trust. And you can't have trust if you've already signed that away with a contract. I know it doesn't work with all films, but the type of work we do, it's a very important part of it. It's a good question. How do you, I guess you're saying, how do you know at the beginning that you're going to have something that's great? And you don't know. You follow your instinct. So it's not about the, while it's about the technique of making the film, it's also about your sense of it and following it through, and your instinct for what is a good story. Sometimes we would come away from filming with them and we would look at each other, we'd be driving away, we'd look at each other and we'd go, yes, because we knew that we'd got something. And then other times it was just, there was nothing very much happening. But you just have a belief, that because what we do is make films, we take the camera with us. And that seems to open it up. And we say all the time that the gods of documentary shine on us, and it seems that this is true. Our film has only recently sold to television in New Zealand, to Māori TV, and it goes to air later this year. We did very well theatrically. We released it ourselves. We first of all talked to some distributors in New Zealand, and one of them said, I can get you 2 or 3 screens. Another one said, oh, we don't think there's any audience for a film about poor Māori people. And we went, we don't see the film that way. That's not actually what it's about. So we distributed it ourselves, and we opened in 25 cinemas, and I think we ended up in 35, and we ran for about 16 weeks, and we did very well, and it was incredibly well received in cinemas and by people in New Zealand, yes. The next film we're in post-production on, it's called Yolanda's Last Portrait, And on the surface it seems to be a completely different film. It's about an elderly woman and her brother living in the last unrenovated house in a very posh suburb in London. It's an old mansion. She's an artist, he's a scientist. And they live in this crumbling lair of a house. And we filmed it over 3 weeks, and it's all inside one house. So it appears to be completely different, but as we're working in post-production with it, we understand now that in many ways it's the same story. It's a story of people who have a real issue with their history, with in this case, the stepmother. People trying to come to terms with the life that's been imposed on them, and who are mavericks living outside the normal way that people live. So it's completely different, and it's also very similar.